Stonesy.
Hello.
Did you just see the new link? Is that how you...
Yes, I did. I was actually just going to email you or double check the email because the one didn't work for me.
I know. I don't know what to do for the folks who didn't get emailed to me.
Hello.
Do you have Tories?
Kimberly.
Sorry, I need to see if we can get RCA to send out a new email. Hello. Sorry.
Hey.
Troubleshooting a broken link apparently, which worked before. So I don't know if it was like when I tested it, I canceled it. Which is no good.
Oh.
Sorry, 1 second, guys. You can listen to the waterfall behind me.
Oh, nice. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oops.
Thanks for turning around that link, Kimberly.
Yeah. I've been scrambling for 10 minutes. Sorry, guys. I see some familiar faces. Yay. It's good to see you all. Sorry. I think I was telling Jamie earlier, I have my phone and 2 computers going, and I'm just like, ah. So my R&D manager called me, and I literally could not pick up because I could not tell where I was ringing. Like,
I know the feeling for sure.
Overload.
I have the same setup, the 2 computers and the phone, trying to track down which one. Yeah.
If my IT team ever gives me the new like desktop setup, I'm really screwed because I'll be on multiple screens. And of course I have airplanes flying overhead because why not? Sorry.
That's one reason I'm not outside is because I'm in Minnesota. So if you watch the news, you know what's going on. There are sirens just everywhere. There was a ambulance going down the street a little bit ago. I'm like, I'm going to go inside. Background noise.
Yeah. It's a heavy time right now.
For sure.
Hey, Jamie. Do you have Tori's phone number to, I need to text her, or I'd like to text her the new link to people. I added the hustlers that I knew to our event, but I didn't necessarily know who all registered through RCA.
Let me see here.
I emailed her, but it's way after hours for her, so I just wasn't sure. I've lost my phone already.
Jamie, whose ears do we see?
Whose ears do you see? That's Thor Jaeger waffles. And I got another one under here hiding behind my dinner.
Hello.
Yeah, those are my companions. I'm gonna get you her thing. Yeah, I forgot to eat today.
Or I guess
Me too. I'm scrambling around. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine.
Don't have to apologize for cooking to this group.
No
Or ordering #takeout with RCA.
Does it
No,
count
it's
if
the
we
moving
watch
around
Monopoly?
so much.
There we go.
I did the opposite. All I did was cook today. I made bread. I made gnocchi. I'm the opposite.
Awesome.
I might be getting some texts of people who are like, what? Okay.
What was it from?
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome. I'm gonna forward Landry.
All right.
He's like, what's going on?
Message. Mobile. There we go.
Got it.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, just troubleshooting. 40-person conference calls.
I know that's fun, right? I'm like texting you, like, what's going on? And I look at my email. I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one. All right.
No, God, no. It's so funny because I tested the link a few times and I might have used up the meeting link time, if that makes any sense, because it's a single use.
I
Gotcha.
see.
You were too prepared, Kimberly.
It's usually
Not the first
case
time
with Kimberly.
preparedness bit me in the butt, but
Yeah.
Hey, I like
You
the
did a
new
dry
t-shirt
run
too.
and threw it off.
Oh yeah, well, apparently I'm just fashionable today, but I had to rock my Eats and Rhymes earlier. I figured it was only appropriate considering.
You're I think I actually have that Colorado t-shirt as a tank till I outgrew it, but
Oh, it's perfect. Well, we're heading downtown right now to help the cleanup crew remove graffiti and stuff from the Capitol building. So I figured it was kind of appropriate to rock my Colorado shirt whilst doing that.
completely.
Yeah.
Completely. I'm glad. And yeah, Seattle, I think, had cleanup people go through, volunteers and probably the original protesters who were protesting peacefully have probably gone back out to clean the city after all the baloney got added on top. So
They did a lot yesterday, I heard.
yeah.
Yeah. I know I'm actually friends with one of the organizers out here in Denver. So she put out a call out today asking for anybody who's willing to help. I was like, absolutely. Like, I'll be there.
Nice.
Luckily in Minnesota here, it seems like as soon as it goes through violent or peaceful, there's another crowd that just follows them cleaning up. Happens pretty quick, actually.
They're just right behind him, like, oh, don't you worry there. I got it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the graffiti takes a little bit longer, but the broken glass and the ashes and the takeout containers and all of that kind of gets wiped up pretty quick.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, we have 19 on. I had 43.
So I just replied all, Kim, to the email that you sent out with the new subject saying updated links and maybe if anybody needs it.
Thank you.
What you eating, Jamie?
Who wants to know? Yingling?
Chris does. Oh, you're eating Yingling. I can respect that.
It's a
Nice.
Mediterranean, the best Mediterranean wrap I have ever had in my life.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I made it, Kim. Hey, how are you? Thanks for hosting.
Yay, I'm glad you made it, Sarah. So you rushed off to the UPS or whatever and got all of your samples out?
Yeah, our stuff didn't make it back from storage in time to make our normal UPS pickup, so then the UPS store's an hour away. So a 2-hour trip later, I'm almost home.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So
That's commitment.
Kyle or Jamie, would you be able to jump on to the RCA Connect at all and just send out a message that way in case people are scrambling around?
Yep, I'll take care of it.
I unofficially decided earlier that Kyle has to manage all of that stuff in general.
Let's see.
Kyle, you've been voluntold. It's official.
Uh-huh.
Hey, if you're going to pass
That's
the
fun,
baton,
though.
you might as well just pass it.
Right. Toss it.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
I stole one. Cheers.
I think Griffith people might actually be blocked out. It was ironic.
That's okay. I'm totally kidding. I'm so totally kidding.
No, that's not email. They've all been emailed. Okay, I'm getting there.
Look at all these pretty people.
Hi, Travis.
Hey, Kate. How you doing?
Well, I'm eating, but other than that, it's fine. You know, same.
Good to hear.
All right. Okay. I think Tori is going to email everyone else. So we may catch everyone eventually. Sorry, guys, for the Zoom blooper. Welcome to Shoestring Budgets and just chalk it up to today and all of the adventures we're having right now. All right. Okay, so believe it or not, I actually wrote a speech for our kickoff just because there are folks on here who haven't gotten to drink with us yet, I mean meet with us yet. So I'll start there, and then for the RCA
And if you
leader
could,
volunteers.
just right now, if you guys could, everyone can put themselves on mute while she's giving her speech, so that way she's super embarrassed.
Oh, thanks.
Go ahead.
I can actually mute you all. How rad is this? Boom. Ha. Okay. Oh, and my phone is of course blowing up. Okay. Okay. My name is Kimberly Schaub, and I'm a business developer for Griffith Foods, specializing in snack food, innovation, and organic formulations. I also run a podcast called Peas on Moss, which is a wordplay on mise en place, in case anyone hadn't actually gotten that. And that highlights that all of our plans, our mise, can go awry, like the meeting today, and we can still grow great careers and meet some amazing friends in the industry along the way who save your butt, like Kyle and Jamie do. And I attribute all of the success that I have honestly gotten to the friendships and mentorship through the RCA and through our network. So, and I'm looking at all of your faces, and I want to hug you all, but that's weird on a computer. So, you know. The Hustlers Under 40 group is our grassroots young professionals network for RCA members, and there are no requirements. So if you are closer to 40 than under, that's fine. We know that our challenges can be a little different from what the general membership may face, so we wanted to create a platform to create, brainstorm, support, and teach each other, and for us to stay connected throughout the year. This vision is very much shared by Justin Kantak, the executive committee, and the staff of the RCA, and I'm really thankful for their support in spreading the word about it during the PoweredUp conference. 2020 has been a doozy of a year, and we will get through it by working together, setting aside our differences, but also celebrating and protecting that diversity. Ultimately, our association and our smaller Hustlers group is here to support the community that works really hard to bring great food to the masses. We do this by meeting in our monthly mixers through open dialogue and conversations on Discord. We can bring subject matter experts to teach about interesting topics, bring leaders to share about their careers, and especially to learn from each other about your particular superpowers and passions. So I'd like to take the time to introduce a few of our member leaders who are already volunteering in RCA leadership roles. And there are several of you on here. There's an airplane going overhead, so go faster. So first, I would like to introduce Sarah Menard, who is the chair of the RCA membership committee, and that's the committee I volunteer on. Sarah?
Hi, how are you?
Do you want to tell us a little about yourself?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm a senior food scientist at Breakbush Chicken, and I've been enjoying serving on the board of directors through RCA. And as Kimberly mentioned, I attribute a lot of my success as well to being involved, starting as a student member through RCA. So really looking forward to growing this group and getting to know everybody through these Zoom chats, and hopefully next year at conference.
All right, next up, Miss Jamie.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jamie. I am Vice President of Culinary and Innovation for Vienna Beef in Chicago. I am the treasurer for the RCA. I'm also, through this Powered Up experience, the competitions chair and the student liaison, passing my baton over to, nice segue, I'm so good, Kyle Stewart.
You're muted.
You're on
Kyle.
mute, babe.
Sorry about that. Kyle Stewart, Product Development Chef at Dairy Fair Foods, newly elected board member to the RCA Board of Directors and Student Committee Co-Chair. Very excited to be here and taking the baton from Jamie. I'm excited to collaborate with you all.
And the people who I did not prepare, but are volunteers in the RCA, Chef Nick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I just joined the call. I figured I'd sit in on it. So Nick Landry, Culinary Development Chef for Southeastern Mills. Company's based out of Rome, Georgia, and I'm based out of Louisiana. So I've been with RCA many years and on my second term of the Board of Directors and just recently Secretary for the Executive Committee.
Thank you. And I see a lot of other faces that I recognize who have been active volunteers in RCA for a lot of things. Notably, one of the co-founders of the newest version of the student committee, that's Phil Sineski. I see you. I'm glad your internet worked this time. And Melinda Russell, you were a president of the student committee in the past. Travis Bettinson and Kate Elderkin are the regional chairs for the Seattle area. Who else did I miss as far as regional leadership? Oh, Chris McAdams, hello. Regional chair for the Colorado, Rocky Mountain region? I'm just making that name up because I don't know.
It's the Rocky Mountain Central.
Does that include like Kansas and New Mexico and kind of everybody?
If memory serves, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure we are Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah.
Yes.
So besides you, who else is in your region?
Nobody.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just really super stoked that you guys are on this call. It's fun to see, again, familiar faces from a few of our previous mixers and some new faces. I really felt like the student town hall today was a great opportunity both to hear from Sheila Jones and hear her perspective of her career. And then I really liked that Jamie and Kyle took a lot of time to hear from the students themselves. I was wondering, didn't really prep you guys on this either, but do you want to give us kind of a top level of what was kind of the biggest request or two from the student town hall today?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the basis of it is just we want to know how moving forward we can better serve the community of members as a whole, specifically the student members and young professionals. So it's very important to us that we get, the feedback and better understand what the RCA is missing in the eyes of our members, what they're doing right, and what we can improve on so that we can take the accurate steps to move forward, grow the organization, and hopefully, excite our current members and bring some new ones on.
Yeah, and to build on that, it's not just for students. Obviously, that's one large portion of our organization, but then there's, like us, and we're these like weird, random ass all over the board in age and education and goals and abilities and all that other stuff. So most of you knowing RCA before and then aware of what we're doing now with the new managing company, we've been able to really just blossom as an organization. So next year will be our 25th anniversary as an organization. But to me, it's really like, after everything going on in the world, it's the first year we'll be able to really make it our own organization. And a long time ago, my dogs are playing, so my computer might cut out. If it does, I'll hop back on. So a long time ago, there was, you know, this population of people in the organization, and they have all grown. And then there's this huge gap where we all kind of like fall in, right? And then there's the students. So when we were talking to the students, they have all the same wants and needs and hopes and dreams that we probably all had at one point, but they're obviously just a little premature to what we need and what we want. So, can you hear that? What a bunch of assholes. The hope is that we can do more of these things and bring more things that matter to you guys. And some of the things that the students said were, you know, basically in line with our jobs, right? I don't have an internship now. I had one lined up, now it's gone. I mean, there's a lot of people now who either are furloughed, they're fired, they don't know when they're going back. If they're going back, it's kind of the same boat, you know, different body of water, but kind of the same boat. And then communication platforms to me is a big deal. And turns out in my group, we split into two groups. The students in mine said Instagram was kind of the one that rose to the top because there's multiple functions, whether it's you can just look at someone, follow them, you can connect with them. There's a young lady who actually reached out to a bunch of small businesses and had success as a student. So I'm wondering if in this new era, right, what does that mean for us, for our group? Is it going to be Zoom meetings forever? Hope not. I mean, no offense. I need change already, right? So how is that going to evolve for us as young professionals? And then mentorship. So I'm a firm believer in mentorship. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mentors. And I look at you guys who are actually taking the time out of your day to sit on a call like this. You guys are the cream of the crop. You're the ones who are rising to the top, and you are very important members of this organization, and it shows just by effort alone. So do we have mentors? Is there something out there for us that we need? I mean, our mentors could be younger than us. They could be prodigies. They could be anything we want them to be. I mean, it would be nice to be able to share that and you know, see what that means to you, because we're across all disciplines too. So I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know I was told to wing it. So this is kind of just an open forum, guys. Like, let us know what's on your mind. What do you think about the organization now? Let this be a beautiful, fluid conversation. And with that, I am muting myself.
I think I want to kind of double down on what you said, Jamie, about finding mentors. We don't have to look chronologically, you know, just for the old folks, and that unfortunately includes me. But, you know, we're all at really different stages in our careers. I came over from the military into restaurants and then into R&D, and so I was automatically quite a bit older than people, even though career-wise and experience-wise I was younger, you know. And just thinking about the people who took the time to help give me suggestions or kind of redirect me a little bit. If you know me at all, I tend to run really fast in a direction that I think is the right direction. But sometimes I just need to get turned like a degree, because I'm going to keep sprinting, right? And if you just like tweak it, then, you know, I won't like run into a wall or off a cliff or something. And I'm definitely looking at you, Emily, when I say that, because I'm just thinking about what our early conversations looked like when we were just getting started. And as we've learned and grown in really different directions in our careers, to be able to reach back and be like, hey, have you ever worked with this? Like literally today, I texted Emily and was like, hey, have you worked with this type of ingredient? Just like blah, 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 you know. And that's, for me, my superpower is the fact that you don't all hate me and no, that I get to call you and ask for help.
Hey, so that was a perfect segue to some commentary that I have. I've been really loving this really kind of informal yet regular connections that I've been doing with RCA folks in different capacities, and this group stands out for sure. And the Discord stuff has been awesome. So I feel already so much more connected to you all, and more than just the usual faces that I knew at conference. So that's been really nice. Something that I'm thinking about a lot as I join group calls of varying sizes is the effectiveness of some of those smaller conversations and ways to try to figure out how to break out into smaller groups of like 2 or 3 or 4, that where you can just have a more intimate conversation. That would be something really interesting to me. I don't know how you would host that or produce that or would split that up. But I think it'd be interesting to explore.
We found out a couple days ago, Kyle and I, when we were doing the run through for the student town hall, that is a function that you can do on Zoom. And we actually broke the group into 2. And I don't know how many different little like, sub rooms or meetings you can do, but what's cool is that Tori was able to divide and conquer and separate us. And then we all went back at a certain time. So I think that's a great idea.
It would just be cool to get to know, rather than doing like everyone's intros every time, which would take the whole meeting of in itself, you could really get to know like a smaller little cohort and switch it up each time. That could be, a way to build some of that in. Maybe there's like a 15 or 20 minute like small groups.
The My Job Rocks guy that shared a talk in the Discord, and I believe on one of these Zooms as well. They had a breakout like that, so everybody kind of chatted, and then they broke out with questions. And yeah, I agree. That's a really, really effective way, not only to just meet people a little bit better. It's kind of like having that conversation face to face at conference, but at the same time, it was a little bit like mini mentorship, connecting on LinkedIn, asking questions, learning about where people had been. So from a student perspective, I definitely think that would be useful, especially with Zoom and how comfortable everybody is after all of this. Connecting with people you usually wouldn't connect with would be really effective.
What's the ideal size for a breakout like that, do you think?
I mean, the power of one-on-one is pretty strong, but I would think 5 at max, because otherwise it just takes forever. But I mean, that would be something to play with too, because if you have, one mentor and 5 students and they're just going to talk, I mean, that would be one thing. But if you wanted true connection, like at conference, it'd be smaller, I'm thinking.
So Emily, what do you think? I'm interested to think, so if it wasn't students, would it just be the same amount?
I mean,
technically
I
you're
think
kind of peers.
Yeah, like depending on what the content was based on, if it was just like get to know your neighbors and like split off into groups of 4 or 5 and just like talk about whatever, I could see it, or even smaller groups. Maybe it's one-on-one or 2 or 3. But then like Stanzi said, with maybe there's like a lead or a, someone that's like leading a conversation or a talking point, or we choose different sessions to go to, like someone wants to talk about food waste and someone wants to talk about culinary innovation. We talk about, you can break off, choose what group you want to join in on.
So then I've got an ask for the group. You can either throw it down in the chat, or you can email. Nobody knows my email address. You can just respond to Kim and she can gather them. Topics. What's important to you? Because I can sit here and pull shit out of my ass, but it's probably not going to matter to probably like 7/8 of you.
Well,
So.
And on that note, I don't even think we need to pre-decide a bunch of topics or do any ideation. I think to start, just connecting with each other, just doing the like meet your neighbor, like have one-on-ones or small groups, just like chat it up. Where'd you go to school? Where are you from? What are you working on now? What are you looking for? I mean, that could in and of itself would lead to great conversation with a totally different group of people each time.
Like chat roulette.
Yes.
The other thing too, like next happy hour, we actually are featuring Corey Abesa. He's going to teach about Filipino cuisine. And he and I were just emailing today of like, okay, how long should this be? What are the challenges of demoing? And Julie definitely has experience in, cooking demos, actually, and so does Chef Nick, on just the challenges of trying to do a demo over camera or over Zoom. My thought was that maybe we could do you know, a 20-minute cooking demo and then have 20 minutes to chat with each other about what we saw, and have that part be the test of the breakout rooms. You know, so we have a topic-ish of what we just learned, and then get to know the neighbors who've ended up in your breakout group. I will admit I'm terrified of clicking on breakout groups and like hanging up on everyone. What do you guys
I
think?
have Kyle, can I spill the beans on our idea
Do it.
to get some live feedback?
Do it.
So, as you're all aware, or all of those who are on this call who absolutely sat through the annual business meeting knows that 64% of our revenue comes from conference. And since we didn't have conference this year, we didn't get all the revenue that we were supposed to. So we're coming up with different ways to build revenue for the organization, right? Just to pay bills and that kind of a thing. So because everyone's been posting recipes and cocktails and all that other stuff, we had a thought that we were going to do culinology, and it's a book written by members for members, and we already have a template done, and it would be one of those where you guys would just sign a disclaimer saying that I'm giving RCA this original recipe. It would have your name, it would have your recipe, and it'd all be in the same format, and then it would get published in like mid-August. So it would be a downloadable ebook, or it would be a print on demand from Amazon through Kindle Direct Publishing. So it's well underway, but it's one of those things that, you know, is this something that you guys are interested in? It's not going to cost anything for you. You literally sign a disclaimer and then submit. We haven't decided how many recipes, but anything you guys, I'm sure we're going to get like 1 million sourdough bread recipes, but that's okay. You know, we'll take it. We'll have a sourdough section. I'd like to hear some thoughts on that. Do you guys have any good ideas or any direction we should take this? I'm digging the thumbs, you guys, with your technology.
I think it would be interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I love that idea. And especially since that I'm sure a lot of us have been cooking a lot these days. I think it'd be really cool to just even discuss what possible topics that we may be like conquering with the terms of recipe development. And like the first thing I thought, since that all of us have been sheltering in place and just staying home, I'm sure a lot of us have gone into our comfort cooking. And so I really would love to see like what every person who like participates in this recipe development, like what's your comfort food and what does it mean to you? So that it would almost give that sense of like what's really personal to you. Maybe it's like your cultural background or just how you grew up. So I think I just love the idea. So yes to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of to Corey's point, it's not like signing up for a topic, but kind of, so that way you don't get 100 sourdough, but maybe you give one person the fermentation section, one person the southern, one person the different ethnic cuisines, and you could go a lot of different ways. So that way you get a huge variety of topics to cover. And kind of how Corey's just saying, you give a little intro or history, because that seems to be the popular thing on every recipe you get off of Facebook or Pinterest. It has like a blog posting to it, so it's like you have to read through the story, and some of the stories are too long, but I think you could maybe write a short blip of what it means to you or something.
I like that.
I also really like the comfort food thing. My immediate idea was actually like regionality. So because it's like based on RCA, could we split up the book in the regions that we have leaders of RCA and like get them involved in a fact of like they might write the intro for their area, and then, you know, maybe they're responsible for filtering through the submissions that come from their area, and then that could kind of divide the work out a little bit. But I really like Corey's point too of like, this idea has spurred out of COVID, so why not use COVID, you know, as an inspiration?
Love it. So question, you'll have to be an active member of the organization to participate. That's the only caveat. So that being said, we are offering during this time some type of relief for that. I can't think of the word. What am I thinking of, Nick?
Furloughed dues.
Basically, where it's just like, we get it, you're still a part of the organization, but because you can't pay, we're not going to hold that against you because of, I don't know, your cities are burning, there's a pandemic, like we'll allow it, right? So that's just kind of, you know, the caveat, I guess, but it's not really. So do you think it makes sense?
Offer sponsorship for furloughed people? Like if someone does have cash on hand, they can sponsor someone who may not.
That's a great idea.
We've kind of thought about something like that, Kimberly. That came up in our last membership. The membership committee is tasked with a lot of these ideas, so that's something we can take back. We've been, like as Jamie said, every committee's tasked with different ways to drive revenue right now and offer benefits to our members, because we know everyone's going through something different at work. We're all going through something, so we're trying to do different things. As Jamie says, it is a deferred membership if you've lost your job or out of work or looking for work during the pandemic. So definitely reach out to RCA.
Not to move the conversation away from the cookbook, but in money generating ideas, I love the swag. Let's get some sweatshirts. Let's get some stuff. I want to rock it. I got my Pizan Moss. I only wear that once a week. You know, there's 7 days because I'm working from home every day.
So
then my Colonex jacket, I have to limit that on conference calls. I don't know. I need to mix it up.
So what kind of swag do you guys want? What matters to you guys? We got sweatshirts. I wrote
Sweatshirts and
sweatshirts
hoodies.
And
Like,
I really wanted the RCA t-shirts that you guys have. The ones that they kind of were, yeah, those that they were wearing in the intro videos. Yes.
Nice, Nick.
That's really smart, especially like with conferences, especially when it's canceled. It's like, well, I still went, quote unquote, online. So I mean, that could be your takeaway instead of, you know, the branded donated bags and things like that you get from people. So I think that would be smart. To like business professional things like a laptop case or things students would use too.
Okay. What about, and this is for all you brains out there, a functional ingredient kit? Go.
Yes.
Fantastic. What does that mean to you?
How much of a pain in the ass that is to pull together, though?
Hey, shut up, Jess. You're marketing. You got to think big. You got to think big. You'll make it. You'll make it.
Put myself back
Marketers just go do it.
Okay. All right. I'll step away from this conversation then. Hi, guys.
That's Jessica Goldstein. She's the vice president of this organization. If you didn't know, she's also kind of a badass. So
if you didn't know, now you know.
How high can you jump?
Not that high. And also, I'm living in the middle of New York City right now, which is like the worst time to be living here. Like my street was shut off, which is why I'm late. So sorry. But it's nice to meet you all or see you all who I've seen before.
But Jamie, a functional ingredient kit, like things you can't get at the grocery store, like a modified starch, a xanthan gum, and I don't know what the third would be if you did a kit. I know you can find those things, but they're hard to find.
Those are like individual Amazon purchases of like 1,000 grams or whatever.
So we could probably any of that stuff. Give me a shout. I could send it to you.
Sodium citrate. This is off Colonex duty. Not clean label ingredients, but I ordered that for myself. Cheese sauce for days. Beer and cheese sauce make anything creamy smooth. I would add that to the list.
I was gonna say an alternative sweetener that isn't necessarily sold all the time, especially the ones that need bulking agents. Like I worked with corn fiber stuff this year at school, and you know, you don't think about that if it's not one of the made for grocery store things like monk fruit extract. Not everybody knows to do the whole bulking thing. So I mean, that could be important. Or potassium salts have really kind of shown up as a sodium decrease or thing.
The good news is if you'd like to learn about sweetener reduction, you should come to Powered Up. There'll be a session later this week on that. So building your bulking agent.
Nice plug, Justin.
Yeah,
hey, it's not my company. I'm just on the video.
I'd like to formally introduce the president of the Research Chefs Association, Mr. Justin Kantak.
Yay,
Welcome.
me.
Cheers, boss.
Cheers. So in terms of a lot of the products that you guys mentioned are a lot of the things that Ingredion carries. So we could definitely figure out a way if you guys want to do like a pound sample size, which is typically what we have. Like that's something that I can easily get. Depending on how much you guys are looking into selling into the functional kits. Like let's say we get 100, then I need to get some people involved. But if it's just like, if it's not, like we can talk about the numbers, because if it's sample sizes, I'm pretty sure that we could swing something. Because literally I think that out of the 7 ingredients you guys mentioned, we supply 5 of them. So I
Do you think
something out.
Do you think that's something we can talk offline? But do you think that's something Ingredion would sponsor if the amounts were small?
Absolutely. We have to figure out who's going to be doing the shipping and sampling, but I feel like that's free marketing. We already have a lot of those products that have been kind of sectioned off as sample products. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to donate some of that stuff to you guys, especially if it's smaller sizes. I know we have smaller containers specifically for like our gums and our high intensity sweeteners. So we already have the containers. It's just printing the label and putting it in a smaller container. So.
And I think now more than ever, a lot of our volunteers and board members, we're doing a lot of stuff out of pocket. So if you need, say we're doing this kit and there's, modified food starch, xanthan, sodium citrate, all that. If I went and got a bunch of, Avery labels and printed out 1,000 sheets of xanthan with whatever information you wanted it and got it to you, as long as obviously regulatory and whatever would approve that, that's something that, we can disperse costs over. So the whole point is to not cost us a lot of money to do these things, right? So,
right.
But I love this. And also it's good to see you, Maria. How's your brother?
He's good. He's dealing with the 2 babies during pandemic. That's been hard. I feel for him. So.
Wow, I talked to him last week and he seemed so calm and put together. That's good. Good to know that's not what's happening in the background.
No, I got an SOS text message the other day that was like, "Aunt, please support for a playground in the background." And I was like, "All right, give me the Venmo." But he's doing good.
Does anybody have anything to add?
I was going to say that after the functional ingredient kind of sampler, especially for young professionals, would it be effective to do like a fermentation pack or a gluten-free pack, things like that? Because I know not everybody has, or vegan even, not everybody has used, nutritional yeast to make cashew cheese or
Are you telling me that nobody's made cashew cheese? I'm sure everyone's made cashew cheese.
Oh yeah, especially young people. Because we just have that money to spend on experimental things all the time. But yeah, with like gluten-free baking too, there's so many different ingredients that you can manage, and a lot of times they're bulk. So that can cut the cost down of experimental stuff, and then you might even get some students to enact more. Especially
a question on who are we selling the kits to? Like, who's the audience?
Us and students, and it's our organization. That's the thing. So it could be anything that we want it to be. The whole.
I'm just wondering, like I could request. I mean, like I know how to request samples from Ingredion, right? So like, is it people that don't know where to go or aren't familiar? Like students make a lot of sense. The general public, I could see people that are interested, home cooks might even want to buy these. And just members in general, are you thinking there's interest in this for home cooking or for professional use?
Well, I think that's a fantastic question, because I didn't even think outside of our organization, because all we've been, mostly tasked with is what can we do to drive revenue within our organization without spending billions of dollars to do it, right? And I think having it originally, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it kind of started with what could we do for just swag? Like, what does that mean to our organization? And then students became a part of it. And There was a couple other kits.
I mean, I think the biggest audience is going to be people that don't normally have access to these things and are curious and want to play with them. And they don't want to go to Amazon and place 10 orders. I don't think it's like the core RCA audience necessarily is going to buy a ton of these. But I think it's worth opening up to whomever wants to buy them. You know, like there could be, you know, in terms of making money, and not to put like Maria, you know, she offers to make like 10 kits and then it's like we open it up to the world, you know. But in terms of like, if the goal is to truly make money, how big is this thing and how big do you want it to be?
So I'm gonna just jump in real quick. So we are working, me and the region, a couple region chairs and a couple other people are working on a whole nation-side RCA mystery market basket competition thing. So I have a call tomorrow with some people who actually know how to plan one of these. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna have different sponsors and we're gonna collect the mystery ingredients. Probably, I offered my team to do it, but if anyone else wants to offer, that would be awesome. And we're gonna send everyone a handful of culinology ingredients, like mixed ingredients, and they all have to compete. So, and we're gonna do it in like bracket form, so like sort of like fantasy football kinda. So if anyone wants to like help with that or like be part of that, that's probably coming down the pipeline in the next month or so. We'll open up signups.
And I was gonna say, back to whoever brought up the kits, like the gluten-free kit and all that. I think that's, I know on Etsy they sell like cheese making kits where you make homemade mozzarella, fresh curd. So like maybe a gluten-free kit or a vegan kit, like ingredients that you'd use in that the home consumer aren't quite aware of, like the nutritional yeast, like those different things. Like maybe Timley's point, if you had a branded kit for gluten-free 101 baking that had a couple different flours and then a functional ingredient that helped them, maybe you could sell something like that on Etsy or another platform where they're already selling those cheese making kits and those things.
That would be a good thing too, if you could link, or even, I don't know, if thumb drives and CDs are kind of out of it, but if you could like sell a link with that to somebody from the RCA with a message like they work in this, here's some inspiration, here's what you need to know about these ingredients, and make it a little bit more interactive. That might even be, especially if we labeled it like RCA and sold it on Amazon, I'm thinking real big here. That's all but free marketing to the free world. I mean, then you get into more universities, people know about RCA and culinology. You get into more, you know, grocery stores. Ooh, public all of a sudden knows what RCA is. Because I mean, even just in this new job I have in the restaurant, people don't know what RCA is. People have never heard the word culinology. And this could be a way to get into the home and into kitchens all across the world. Restaurants and stuff. I mean, shoot big.
I really like
like,
these ideas.
on a similar note, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was thinking also, like, could we do like a community outreach, kind of like a science education program, maybe for kids, where we might kind of introduce the idea of food science and like culinology to like the next generation that might not be aware of these types of careers.
I think there was an effort to get marketing to culinary schools at one point. I don't know what happened with that. Fast forwarding
We're
a
still
couple of
working on
years.
that. We reached out to a bunch of people, and we're still, with the committee that we have, we're kind of like re-looking at it to see like how we can find local support in different areas, kind of to bring potential new members have an opportunity to have an event there, or coinciding with a different type of institution depending on what they're working on, or if they wanted to have our experts come in and do something with professionals and students to kind of engage them and introduce them to something. So that's continuing. Actually, Jerry picked that up when I rolled off marketing. So now with the current state of affairs, we're kind of just waiting and seeing what's going to happen next. So a lot of what we're working on has kind of been put on hold just because we're not really sure what tomorrow looks like. But it is absolutely something we're trying to stay part of, or reintroduce ourselves to a different sect of the culinary world?
I know we've been talking about universities and professionals, but have we thought about high schools at all? Because personally, it's a good thing I knew culinology and food science existed in high school, because otherwise I never would have found my university for culinology. Personally, in the Midwest, a lot of high schools don't have good culinology programs. So that could be another way to reach out. And then even those PACs that we're talking about, high school food programs, introduce those scientific concepts, because then you have more people floating into universities that are going to be interested in those culinology programs.
Where did you go to high school?
White Bear Lake in Minnesota.
Yeah, I work with one technical high school here on the East Coast, and I don't know, because a lot of areas are really predominantly in the culinary arts and not so much in food science at that age yet. But if you have any recommendations on how to reach out to maybe other tech schools, or a way to engage the students more if they're curious about maybe expanding, their knowledge, because I don't know about you, but I still don't even really know what I want with my life. I can't imagine it being, me being what, 14 when you go into high school, like knowing what you want to study if you're going to a tech school. So just maybe a different way to have that conversation with that age group might be helpful.
Could you just pop your email into the chat? Now I'll send you what I've got.
Sure.
Excellent. Excellent segue. So I threw my personal email into the chat, and if you want to send them directly to me, regurgitate or vomit all your ideas onto that. I would prefer, since I didn't have it on hand, Kimberly put it on there, our Discord. Is it a page? What is it? Account?
App?
Group? I don't know. Feel free to keep these ideas coming, because there's some fantastic things here. And I know we could talk about this forever. But I want to make sure that if there's anything else you guys want to touch on, that we do that, because like, I don't know, did anybody lose their job? Does anybody need anything? There's a virtual job fair that's going to be coming up soon. And that's actually available to not just RCA members, but to anyone, friends, family, you name it. So if there's people in this industry, in our industry, that don't have a very bright future, send them that way. And if you guys know companies, even more importantly, or your company is hiring or whatever, you just need to contact, I think it's Katie King.
Contact me.
Oh, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah Menard.
Or Katie, but there's just a quick link, a quick survey if you're presenting. It's free to present, free to participate for anybody, non-members, members, because we know it's a challenging time out there right now, even for students. The recruiter that's speaking, she's gauging the presentation all the way from students to seasoned professionals, up to the vice president level is kind of how we geared the presentation. So.
Damn, Kim, you are on top of it.
So I was like, where'd the window go?
Check out that chat, guys.
Given that, at least, okay, personal share. Today was really heavy for me, and a couple of people checked in on me, and thank you to each of you for that. I do want to just kind of, again, put out there to you guys that we are here to support each other through the good times when money's rolling in and we're, I don't know, playing slots or something. I don't know. And when times are really rough, which I will argue is right now. And I think I was just reminded why this type of connection is really important, to reach out to, if it's 21 of your closest friends or if it's 2 of your closest friends, to not sit there and think that you're just being insane because you're alone and just feeling the feels. Do reach out. Jamie and I are strangers potentially to some of you, but we're still ears. And I know that goes the same for Justin and everybody else on the RCA board. They're not as terrifying as they seem. And I would say just reach out, even if you're not exactly sure what to ask up front. You could just be like, I'm feeling down, things have kicked my butt lately, and I'm just not sure which direction is up. Can you point me in the right direction? And that's sometimes all all that's needed.
Well, one of the things that I could also piggyback on what, Kimberly is saying is there's a handful of us who have kind of been able to share our experiences and what we're dealing with at, a very high level of food service. And a lot of what we're dealing with mentally, emotionally is unrelatable to a lot of our friends or family because they don't necessarily understand what's going on, in the general food public or what's going on globally and how this is affecting the supply chain. So, just having other ears to help listen and understand the stresses and pain points that you're going through as an essential worker is also very nice and homely to have. So,
and for those of you that don't know, I'm surprised, or who I'm sure everyone on here is Facebook friends with Nick Landry. And an example of, if you aren't, you will be. An example of this was I was tasked as the chef for Vienna Beef to make a video out of my house on how to make the perfect Chicago style hot dog. So I wasn't allowed to go in. I had all the ingredients shipped to my house from work, which is 30 minutes north of me. I couldn't go in. I was freaking out because I had to not only film a video, I had to edit it, I had to do all these things and then send it out to our social media company. And so I called Nick. I was like, oh my goodness, I am so out of my element. So not only did he help me, walk me through it, tell me the apps to download, how to do it, he actually followed up with me after I posted it, and then he reposted it. And that's the kind of support that this entire organization has. I mean, did I ever think I would be doing that? Absolutely not. But I've got, I think, like 5,000 or 6,000 views on that video. And that, I don't even know what that means because I don't know, but I'm assuming that's better than like 20 on my Facebook page. So thanks, Nick. But that's the kind of, thanks, Em. That's the kind of support that we offer to each other. And just, it doesn't matter, sorry, Justin, if you're the president of the organization or, not, but we're all here and we're all available. And I think we all want what's best for each other. So we're all in the same boat, in the same body of water. So.
Well said.
Any other thoughts or feelings to share?
So I know I've been quiet most of the time, but to kind of piggyback on what Jamie was talking about, I can definitely attest to that too. And Nick is actually my example as well. I was trying to ferment some hot sauce one time, and I was talking to Jamie about it. She was like, who's perfect for you to talk to is Nick Landry. And he was. It was the most perfect thing that could have happened for me. And he was super helpful. He is incredibly approachable, and I really appreciated that. Thank you again, Nick.
You're welcome. That's what we're here for. So I kind of get disturbed when nobody reaches out to me to ask questions.
Are you
I enjoy
actively accepting friend requests?
He's teaching his daughters how to follow his footsteps.
And another great example, which is something that Kyle brought up. So if you guys aren't familiar, Nick Landry and Southeastern Rolls, they do a Hot Sauce 101. And we're looking to our industry people, if there's a topic that you're, super knowledgeable about, if you or your company would want to host a 101, like Jessica's going to do a spices 101, I don't know, let me think here.
I'm going to do a dairy 101.
There you go.
Like a master class? Is that like a
kind of?
An intro class.
Yes, but it would be either a regional event or something but it provides value.
Right off the bat, I'm thinking Flavors 101.
Who do you
get in there, Lindsay?
I'm thinking that could be a revenue thing too. If like, hey, you watched this video, if you enjoyed it, consider donating, and then have it open so you can donate whatever they want.
I think first we would like to start with our organization to see if it even matters, because our people will give us honest feedback. Like, dude, Nick, that was fucking awful. Like, your examples was shit, your presentation was shit, your food was shit. That's because we love each other.
But we
and
like
we
you,
would
Nick.
do that.
It's okay.
Whatever. We did a joint one here in Chicago, so I can say that. But I think we.
to piggyback off of Lindsay's, so I took food science for the chef course by IFT back in March, and I thought that was one of the coolest presentations was when they gave you all these flavors, and you start putting a dab of this, a dab of that. The next thing you know, it's like, I don't know, hibiscus flavor, and you use like 4 or 5 flavors, and I'm like, I didn't know that before. That was like cool as shit. So like, I want to see more of that within RCA, because it's interesting. Because I go to the food scientists, and they're like, oh, we're just going to throw a flavor. What's that flavored component? Well, I don't know, So it's like, I think that's kind of cool stuff that we would love to see.
Absolutely.
Those kits, you could probably get Bell Flavors, one of the flavor houses, to do a little like fruit flavors kit or savory flavors kit. Those are always fun to play with.
Yeah, I work for Bell Flavors, so we call our course Flavorology, and we've been shipping Flavorology kits out to customers and people so we can still do them virtually. And as Nick was saying, we do a tomato one for an example. So you have 5 different things on smelling sticks, and it comes together and it's a tomato. So those are definitely things that we could send out.
Can you get in touch with me about that? Because I'm coordinating all of this for the organization.
Absolutely.
And I will make Chris Warsaw do it.
I'll talk to him.
Tell him that Jess Goldstein said to.
I will. I'll tell him first thing tomorrow.
Tell him also that I suggested you by name first.
Correct.
Bell Flavors.
And once these people know that you're associated with us,
you're screwed.
May the force help you.
Don't tell anybody.
But it's good though. Trust me.
Is anybody, so I was actually competed a bunch of times in the Bell Flavorology competition. It takes place in Chicago every year before NRA in May. It's like, I think it's the Friday before. I think that would be a fantastic thing that we could do on Discord, because the template's already there. The objectives, everything is already set up. And I mean, the amount of flavors that you use, you get your little pipette and you're using, nothing for it. So maybe there's an opportunity there as well.
Why am I not surprised that you competed in that competition, Jamie?
Shut up, Kyle.
I'm just kidding. You have that big chef in your room?
Came in, after I had my baby, I came in and helped her serve that one last year.
Show us a check, Jamie. Come on, just for fun.
My medals aren't enough. I don't get to compete anymore, so it's one of those things where it's thank you, but I have my stack of big checks here. But again, competition isn't important to everybody, so just giving people the opportunity to kind of peek into our lives and peek into our worlds through different mediums would be, maybe it's a painting 101 with natural colors.
Bob Ross, YouTube.
Bob Ross, yeah, YouTube.
Jessica Goldstein. For those who didn't know, she is quite the artist.
I'm a paint by number artist. Limited.
That's still a skill.
Cocktails or wine tasting too. You could engage the I don't remember what the national one is called, Wine Spectre, or like Minneapolis Food and Wine Show, that kind of thing, but do it virtual. So have a bunch of vendors or even teachers and vineyards and things like that too.
See, the problem with stuff like that is they all want us to pay them.
What about Rombauer? Napa.
Listen, I squeezed a lot out of that grape, okay? The juice was there, just to squeeze.
There is opportunity, and no idea is a bad idea. And I actually think that, if there are some nationally available products,
and if anyone knows somebody there, helps.
It could be a great idea.
A lot.
So besides money making things, is there anything else that's important to you people?
Yeah, what can we do for all of you?
I've been really enjoying drinking at home and getting creative with the drinking process. So I would be interested to see if anybody would like to, I don't know, maybe through Discord or have like a separate chat of just like cocktail ideas. And then maybe we can have some type of like something, just do like a short little video of you making it and showing like maybe describing like what the process is or what the flavor compounds or flavors that you're developing. I think it'd just be really personal, and then I don't know, something fun to see that you're not only drinking alone, you may be drinking with someone else that can make the same thing.
I was wondering when somebody was going to say the drinking alone comment thing, but I appreciate that. That's a really cool idea. I wonder if we can have like something, I mean, we could certainly set up like a Zoom room for whatever, anytime. Corey, if you want to reach out to me and help me get that set up, I would be happy to implement it across the entire organization if we can swing it somehow. But if you have a concise idea that, you know, we can execute based on what you know, I'm totally for it.
Or
Yeah, I think that'd
the
be great.
Discord was cool too, Corey, because then people could just post their recipes and post a quick snippet of how to mix it up or shake it up, and but that could be one of our sessions too, Kimberly. Is like a cocktail hour or competition or whatever we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I posted the other day that I was making a tequila-based drink, and then I just ended up drinking tequila and nothing else. Skipped the twist.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Dangerous of doing this.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a specific like happy hour with everybody. Bring your favorite cocktail to show off or something. That'd be fun.
We could do that.
I've got some contacts at Bacardi as well that I think would be more than happy to speak to the group if
most excellent.
If that's of interest.
Cool. That sounds very, very.
So on the topic of raising money, I am curious from the standpoint of RCA if there is something we can do to support Black Lives Matter after the event of this weekend and what we're going to be seeing a lot. And just an idea off the top of my head, if there is something we can put on an auction page that the donation would go to Black Lives Matter or another organization that RCA would be willing to support.
That's a great idea. I wonder if it makes sense to support. So there was a reporter, because I live in the south suburbs, right? I live in Tinley's, or well, not Tinley, I live in Frankfurt. And that's outside of Chicago for anybody that doesn't know. But we are still getting looted. We're getting all sorts of things. But surrounding, just east of me, there's a bunch of, you know, food deserts. There's nothing there but a Family Dollar store or a gas station. And those places have been looted and robbed. And so, you know, maybe instead of, not that I'm against Black Lives Matter, please understand that, but maybe there's an opportunity through food or through feeding those. Also, Chicago public schools, we're still feeding students who rely solely on school lunches that are now done because you can't get in or out of Chicago. They've cut off highways and stopped the trains. And maybe there's an opportunity for us in each of our towns to bring forth, maybe on the Discord page, some of those opportunities where maybe our companies, you know, maybe I can get a bunch of hot dogs sent somewhere, whatever it is. I absolutely think there's a real opportunity there. But it's got to be meaningful and appropriate. And I don't know what that means for everyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I personally, like, I don't know. I'm not sure what the right thing is to say in this situation. And I know that, you know, a lot of people in my circle, and it wasn't addressed yet in my circle, in my professional and personal circle. And I guess I just want to speak up, and I don't know where to start is, but this is probably a start.
This is absolutely a start. I noticed Jess wrote World Central Kitchen is supporting a lot of that. Maybe we could piggyback there.
And I know, to Jamie's point, I think food is a cool thing to support because that is who we are and that's at our core. And I know the school lunches up here, a lot of companies are donating hundreds of thousands of pounds of food to these school lunch programs because they still have to deliver lunch or they lose their funding for next year for free or reduced lunch. And that's a huge thing. I mean, everything piggybacks off of each other, and kids not having food, if that's their only meal they're counting on, I mean, that's a big deal. So I think that is a really cool idea.
And there's
just
also
a
a lot of organizations within the RCA right now who do support school lunches. So I don't know if maybe, I know that there is a school food program association. I'm sure there is. Maybe we can get in touch with them and see how we might be able to support them, especially with school ending and summer coming up. If anyone has ideas on that.
I didn't
well,
even
just
think
to
about
tie
summer.
well, just to tie in to the Black Lives Matter movement and what we can individually do, since there's so many of us that are scattered throughout the Research Chef Association all over the states, I think it's really important to really localize our efforts in the area that we are, because not only do we have the connections through RCA, but we have our individual connections to our community members as well. So I think it'd be really great to see even just like the regional chairs of each region kind of discuss what are the most pertinent topics or organizations that we can support. Like, for example, here in the Bay Area, what I'm trying right now is to have like some type of pop-up that really focuses on getting everyone's funds together like locally and just feeding people good food to make them happy. But at the same time, you're showing that community support for where the situation you are currently in. So like we have a lot of the protests happening in San Francisco and in Oakland, and a lot of those disproportionate communities aren't getting the food or the funds really to help with that. So here in the Bay Area, it's super great that a lot of people really work together in a sense. So that's just how I'm interpreting what I can do to the situation. And I just want to make food to make people happy. And if I can raise funds for that, that'll make me happy.
Corey, so I am, besides being vice president of the organization, I'm also a regional chair, and I am also the chair of all the regional chairs. That's my new title now.
She's kind of a big deal.
The chair.
She's like a chair store.
So we actually have, for the first time ever, it's me and Jeff Crace. I run the New York Metro region, and Jeff Crace runs the San Diego region. I've been a chair for 9 years. I believe Jeff has been a chair for 4 years. It's the first time that we've ever had 2 chairs for this position because we want to put such a stronger emphasis on bringing the RCA locally to our communities, because we're not sure when we can get together again. One thing I just want to remind you all of, this is a volunteer position. I don't know what other people's situations are like. I am fortunate. My business is doing okay right now, that I am still employed. I don't know what other region chairs positions are currently. So whether they're, if they have families or if they're looking for opportunities, busy with their own careers and whatnot, they might have some restricting factors that we just don't know of, and just not enough time to get things done. So if you're interested in helping and supporting in any way, whether it's donating time or recommendations, I would absolutely encourage you to get in touch with your region chair and offer that, just because I know with everything that we have going on at the global level for RCA, there's a lot of things that we're kind of putting on volunteers. So the more that we can encourage other people to support those initiatives, and if you have ideas that are better that we can bring other people to be part of, I would absolutely encourage you taking that leap and just doing it. I'm
If
also
you're not
support in any which way too, so feel free to keep me in the loop. I hold people pretty accountable, so whatever it is, I will make sure it's getting done.
And if you don't know who your regional person is, you just go to culinology.org, and I believe it's got all the regional chairs on there.
Or
Some are
email.
Or email Jess, some are rocking chairs, some are stools.
Some are lounge chairs.
Lounge chairs.
Well, I know we're past our top of the hour. I'm definitely happy to continue. I need to upgrade from H2O to something a little bit more harsh on the system. But other than that, if you guys do need to jump, certainly do. I just really appreciate each of you for being part of this. The next Hustler event is June 29th. That's a Monday. at 5 p.m. or dark something or other for Jessica out on the East Coast. We are going to continue these mixers monthly-ish. I know the summer is hopefully going to get busier for folks, as we start to go out and try to socially distance and see each other still. So we'll, we'll continue to host these throughout the year. I do want to double down on Jessica's call for volunteerism, especially now. Some of us might have more time on our hands. Some of us might have way less time on our hands and might have young ones pulling at their ankles. And I'm thinking of the dogs, of course. But whatever you can do, the RCA will find an outlet for you. Jessica and Jamie and Justin will definitely put you to work. But if seriously, if nothing else, please come and join us for Zoom bar events each month. I'm excited to see what the student committee gets to do with Kyle as well. I know it's tough for Jamie to hand that off. But we're redirecting our focus, I think, for having a really strong finish with the PoweredUp conference, and then looking forward to 2021's conference in Atlanta. This is our year, guys. I'm going to speak out of turn because I'm not a board member, so I'm not under the same NDAs. Of all the times, our generation really needs to step up, and we really need to get involved. We need to participate. We need to pay when we can. Because if we want this generation to survive so that we're the old fogies who have to get shoved out at some point, we got to be here now. So, Justin loves getting on phone calls with members. I know everyone else would also talk you through whatever's going on. If you have a brilliant idea or a less than brilliant idea, I'm sure we're here to listen and get our ideas out there. Justin, you really haven't said much. Do you want to impart any of your wisdom to us?
No, I'm good.
Okay, sweet. Truly, or do you really want to? I'm just gonna talk right over you then.
No, I like to listen to you guys. Like, the whole reason I join this stuff is to listen to your guys' opinion. You guys don't need to hear me talk. My job's to help bring what you want to the organization, not my ideas be what you guys do. So that's why I'm here. And I think Jamie can attest to that. I'm pretty sure Jessica can attest to that. Actually, most of you know me. So hopefully you can all attest to that.
And the longer that we get to stay on these calls, the less we get to go back to our little children.
Yeah, I'm not making dinner tonight, so I'm like, hey. But yeah, I always really look forward to these. I will say they stress me out about 15 minutes before the sessions start because I'm trying to get the Zoom links to work or whatever. And Jamie emailed me and was like, hey, do you have an agenda? And I was just like, oh shit, I need an agenda for this. So, here we are talking off the cuff, but yeah, please do continue to invite other people to our happy hours, not just because I really want us to be the most popular group ever, because I do, but also because I think this is serving as a little bit of a lifeline and resource for folks. And I'd like to continue to offer that out if we can. Yeah, I'm trying to think about it and I've thought I don't. But yeah, again, thank you guys for joining and giving your time. Again, Corey Abessa is going to be giving the Filipino food deep dive. Still working out exactly those details. Corey, do you have some thoughts right off the cuff?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to be talking about a dish and then an alcohol pairing with the dish. Ooh. Or like a little cocktail. But I really want to talk about, since this is more of a culinary side, to talk about the colonial roots in Filipino food. So I'm going to try to figure out like a dish that kind of highlights like the Spanish roots, also the Indo-Malaysian roots as well in our food. So it'll be like a learning lesson, and I mean, hopefully it'll make y'all drool through the camera. That's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. So
what's the date for that again?
That's June 29th. I'll put the link to the Zoom, assuming it works, on our Discord page. And then I should also have sent a calendar placeholder for you all. If you didn't get it, please message me on Discord. Yes, Tamara asked if it was going to be on Discord. Yes, the link will be there. And so in closing, I didn't want to let Lindsay's comment about BLM get by us. Black Lives do matter, and I'd like to offline that conversation with those who are interested in talking about that further. I think we can take action there too. But to wrap up, please message me if you have other questions or things that you'd like to talk about. Get on that Discord page, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kimberly.
Bye-bye.
Perfect organizing.
Thanks.
You rock.
Thank you.
Leave.
Just keep drinking, you know.